The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
And a man was shot and killed in southwest Bakersfield after he was allegedly trying to break into someone's home. It happened early yesterday morning in an apartment near Laurel Glen Bible Church. Police say the man shot was trying to force his way into the apartment. Officers say the person living in the home legally owned the gun.
Two teenage boys have been arrested in suspicion of being involved in a shooting in Rosamond that killed a man and wounded a minor. According to the sheriff's office, the shooting happened around 3 a.m. Saturday near Sandra Way and 20th Street. The suspects, a 15-year-old boy and a 16-year-old boy, were arrested on several charges, including murder. The surviving victims only described as a boy under the age of 18.
Meantime, sheriff's officials are keeping quiet on a homicide investigation in southwest Bakersfield. As we've been reporting, detectives responded to a home off Highway 119 Friday afternoon. That's near the 5 freeway. There were 2 people dead inside the home, but the sheriff's office has not said anything else about the investigation.
From our 17 News follow-up file this morning, 4 days after flames destroyed a store in South Bakersfield, investigators have zeroed in on 3 persons of interest. The entire front of the Fallis store building tumbling down in the flames after that fire started Friday morning. The fire also spread to 2 other nearby businesses. The Bakersfield Fire Department yesterday released these surveillance images of 2 men and a woman leaving the area as the fire started. BFD says one man may go by the name Puerto Rican.
We also have new information on a crash in Arvin that killed 3 people Friday night. According to CHP, the driver of a semi ran a stop sign near Malaga Road and Sunset Boulevard and then hit a car. A 17 News viewer says a married couple and their friend were killed in the crash. CHP says the truck driver was not hurt and has not been arrested.
And another structure gone up in flames, this time in central Bakersfield. The fire started just before 9 o'clock last night in a vacant home in the 1100 block of H Street. You can see just how far those flames spread and how quickly as well. Crews were able to save a nearby business from the flames. Firefighters say the home's been burnt before.
En route, we had smoke showing. At first arriving unit advised that there was smoke showing and heavy fire showing for the front of the structure as well as through the roof. We did have an exposure on the south side of the building, which is an operating business. They were able to protect that exposure and keep the fire just to the main occupancy.
No word yet on what started the fire, but crews tell 17 News they believe it was set by an arsonist.
Well, this morning we could learn if the sheriff's office will be featured in a popular TV series.
A Board of Supervisors vote today is all that stands between KCSO and the producers of the TV series Cops.
Sheriff Donna Youngblood submitted a letter to the Board of Supervisors asking for their approval of the agreement. And in that letter, Youngblood says featuring deputies on the program would help recruitment and enhance transparency. If the agreement is approved, KCSO would grant camera crews access to deputies and other sheriff's office personnel. The episodes would appear on the Fox Nation streaming service at a later date.
World news now, and thousands of mourners are waiting in line at St. Giles Cathedral in Scotland for hours just to say a personal goodbye to Queen Elizabeth II. It's the first time since her death the public has had the chance to pay their respects. And Jake Gray's in London with a closer look at what to expect as the public mourning period for the Queen continues.
Slowly, silently they pass, some with a slight nod or bow, others simply pausing. All drawn here by a common bond to such an uncommon woman.
I felt we had to come here. She had such a big effect on all our lives.
The line stretches for 2 miles at times, some waiting 12 hours or more just for a few seconds to say goodbye.
It's very calm, it's very moving, and the crown, the Queen's crown, is sitting on the coffin. It's absolutely beautiful and it just touches your heart.
The constant stream of mourners stops only once, and then just for a few minutes, as King Charles, his brothers and sister join royal archers standing vigil over their mother's casket. The shining black oak draped by the Scottish standard and covered in flowers, a sobering reminder that Queen Elizabeth's reign has come to an end.
Very sad. We know it's real, but when you see a coffin in there, it comes home. It's very real, very sad.
For many, there is a mix of emotions right now. That sadness offset by immense gratitude for Queen Elizabeth's more than 70 years of sacrifice and service. Jay Gray, NBC News, London.
And this evening, the Queen's coffin will make its final trip to London. It will lie in rest at Buckingham Palace until Wednesday afternoon, when a procession including King Charles and other members of the royal family will be part of a procession through central London to Westminster Abbey, where she'll lie in state for public viewing for 4 days.
60 years ago, President John F. Kennedy delivered his moonshot speech about sending a man to the moon. Monday, President Biden delivered his own moonshot speech with the goal of ending cancer as we know it. The president is pledging to see cancer death rates cut by at least half. One initiative he is proposing is a 4-year study that would determine the effectiveness of an early detection blood test. While this would be more convenient and less invasive than the ways cancer is detected now, Dr. Prima Laura with UC Davis says there's still a lot to figure out.
We don't know what happens if following a positive blood test, you don't find any cancer in that individual. What do? We don't know how many people will be subjected to unnecessary invasive procedures or tests and will have complications as a result of those procedures. We also don't know whether people will stop standard of care screening for cancer if they get a negative blood test.
Dr. Laras also says the UC Davis Comprehensive Cancer Center will be involved in the Moonshot Initiative.
The mosquito fires burned more than 48,000 acres across Placer and El Dorado counties. However, containment has gone up to 16%. Crews continue to tackle the fire from the air and the ground, helping them in their effort, a thick inversion layer and cooler temperatures overnight. Firefighters use that time to strengthen containment lines.
We're building that containment line that everyone wants to know when it's going to increase. This is the work that it takes to actually do that and why it is so difficult.
There was a light rain near Mosquito Road, near where the flames were sparked, but not enough moisture to actually impact the fire.
This weekend, rain in Hemet helped firefighters battling the Fairview fire burning down south in Riverside County. It is now 56% contained, with full containment expected on Saturday. 2 people were killed trying to escape the fire that has now burned more than 28,000 acres. It has destroyed 36 structures. An evacuation warning is still in effect for some residents. In California has been dealing with a wide array of issues lately, including fires, energy demands, and the recent heat wave. In an exclusive interview with Governor Gavin Newsom, our Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace touched on all of those, plus how Sacramento plans to fight wildfires head-on.
Newsom made clear the state is ramping up its firefighting abilities, starting with this fleet of aircraft here at McClellan Air Park in Sacramento, but he acknowledges more must be done to prevent wildfires from starting in the first place. Governor Gavin Newsom getting a first-hand look at this newly contracted 737 air tanker from Australia. California plans to use it over the next 60 days to help fight wildfires during the peak fire season. The airplane, just one of many the governor saw today during a tour with CAL FIRE at the McClellan Air Park. Other aircraft include this Firehawk helicopter that comes with technology to fight fires at night.
This is a game changer in terms of the fleet.
During a one-on-one interview, the governor said this fleet is just part of the state's increasing commitment to fight wildfires, pointing out over the last 2 years, California has invested $2.7 billion to combat fires, way up from just $200 million in 2020.
Unprecedented tools, equipment, personnel, technology, doing everything we can to put a lid on this.
Newsom says his administration has prioritized forest management, achieving and exceeding its goal of fuel reduction on 100,000 acres of land. That, as opponents have argued, the metric is just a drop in the bucket.
Some have said, well, that's not ambitious enough. Your response?
No, I get it. Look, I mean, we're taking unprecedented steps. Yes, we will do more. We can do more because we have to do more in order to address the nature of the climate and the extreme. I don't know what more example we need of that extreme heat than what we experienced last 10 out of the last 12 days.
In a about those last 12 days, the governor says they are a wake-up call about climate change and the grid. The record heat wave came just about a week after the legislature approved a Newsom-backed plan to keep the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant in San Luis Obispo County open until as late as 2030.
What do you think could have happened last week if we did not have Diablo Canyon?
Well, we would have, if we didn't have that 9% base load, and it's about 9% of the base load of electricity in the state of California, there's no doubt we would have blown past. We would have absolutely triggered into what we call load reduction, otherwise referred to as blackouts, unquestionably, if we didn't have Diablo, period, full stop.
On climate, the governor maintains the transition to renewable energy is crucial for California, including the Central Valley communities where oil is a huge part of the economy.
Thousands of people in the oil economy, either directly associated or indirectly, who might be nervous about how they're going to earn a living going forward. What is your message to them?
We're going to keep them employed. Capping, making sure that we're addressing all the maintenance concerns on these rigs. We put hundreds of millions of dollars in the budget to secure that transition. So it's not rhetorical. We're going to have their back. No one's naive about the importance of doing our part of guaranteeing during that transition that we're not leaving people behind.
And as for a bill on his desk that would allow farm workers to vote remotely in union elections, even with President Biden's endorsement of the legislation, Newsom was less clear about whether he'll support it, noting he has vetoed similar legislation in the past.
Governor Brown vetoed that bill, I vetoed that bill, and it's one of a few hundred that I have on my desk, and I'll be taking a look at that over the next couple of weeks.
Did it make an impact that President Biden weighed in?
President Biden weighs in on a lot of issues, and we've had many chances to dialogue on a lot of issues. That bill on my desk with a few hundred others, and we're going to take a good look at it. Governor Brown took a look at it, made a decision. I did last year, and we offered many amendments to UFW, and I hope they'll take a look at those amendments.
And the governor has until the end of the month to make a decision on that bill. Reporting here in Sacramento, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.